Good morning, All Souls Community Church. It's Tuesday, September the 1st, but for me it's August 31st, the day before. Recording this as I'm getting ready to actually go in and officiate a funeral, and hence the tie. On Sunday, Pastor Charlie talked to us about Psalm 139 and this notion of God's omnipresence, that God is present everywhere. And one of the lines in Psalm 139, the psalmist says this, he says, even if I make my bed in Sheol. Sheol was this notion of the underworld. In other words, he's saying, even if I make my bed in death, you are there. Even if I make my bed in death, you are there. For the darkness is as light to you. You're not concerned with, you're not overwhelmed by, you're not confused by, you're not afraid of the deepest, darkest darkness that we know, called death. That even there, God is present. And I thought, what an encouraging and what a necessary word for us as we face different trials and struggles like COVID and the things that COVID brings, and racial injustice and the thing that racial injustice brings, and the various forms of suffering, and specifically how those sufferings point us forward and sometimes actually usher us into death. This morning I have the privilege of explaining, of further bringing out the truths of Psalm 139 to family and friends, most of whom I've never met before, many of whom I don't know at all. But I get the privilege of actually bringing them, ushering them into this truth of Psalm 139, that the hope that we have, even when death invades, even when we make our bed in Sheol, is not just that God is there. The point of the psalm is not, well, God's there, so it makes it all better. No, the point is God is life, and life has invaded death. And the word that the scriptures use for that is resurrection. That death is not the end of our story, and it's not the end of the picture. The Bible doesn't end with, and death reigned, the end. But death was overcome. Death and Hades were thrown into the lake of fire. Death has been defeated. Life has won. Darkness has tried to overcome the light, but it could not. Our Jesus has won. Our Jesus has won. That is hope for the hopeless. That is hope in the face of the greatest of losses. And so whatever you're carrying into this week, as we start up school again, and as we start up trying to get back into life, and there's all this anxiety that so many of us have been carrying around and now is starting to pour out, and it's like, why am I so anxious? Why am I so afraid? It's because we're afraid ultimately of this enemy called death. And Jesus is knocking at the door of your soul. Do you hear him? He's knocking today with this message. Death has lost. Death has lost. And so there's nothing to be afraid of. For even when death comes knocking, death bows the knee to our Jesus. Jesus has already overcome. And therefore we have reason not to hope with fingers crossed. I really hope, but surety that the day is coming when death itself will be no more. And we will have our eyes fixed on Jesus, and our knees bent before Jesus, and our tongues confessing that Jesus is Lord of all. He is Lord of all. My friends, if that is the God who is for you, who can be against you? Go into this week, go into this Tuesday and every day beyond with this knowledge, no matter where you go, no matter what you're struggling with, no matter where you are, God is with you. And as you answer the knock on the door of your heart, he's not just with you in an in general sense. He promises to be with you in a very specific, intimate presence sense, the imminent presence of God, the manifest presence of God. As you welcome him in, and as he shows you his presence in palpable ways, in tangible ways, as you hear his voice, as you feel his touch, as you experience his embrace, as he reminds you, your inner soul of the things that are true, as he conquers fear in your life, as he disconnects you from family lies and generational sin, as he shows you why you feel what you feel, not just that you feel that what you feel, as he begins to continues to do the work that he's promised to do, to work out your salvation with fear and trembling with you, the God who works in you to will and to act, that God He's at work. He is present, and he loves you. He's the one who's for you. He's the reason we have to hope, even this day. I pray that you will. I'm praying for you. I'm praying with you. The Lord be with you.